Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is David Theus, and we are here for our second edition of Saturday morning coach. What do we call this thing? A Saturday morning coaching call, I guess it is. Anyway, just a quick intro message, if you will. Again, this is a new product that we are offering to our Promote Clay business community members, and this is an opportunity on a Saturday morning, no less, for people to get together, have some questions about their business. I can be a sounding board as their coach, but the real benefit is that there's multiple people in the room like we have today. And we've already seen it in the pre-show where people are sharing information and also connecting potentially to do business with one another, or whom they might know to do business with a referral basis. So there's a cool opportunity when people get together. There's some real synergy that happens, but today's not a networking event. It's about me being able to provide hopefully some answers and some solutions, and to be a resource as a business coach. So what we're going to do real quick is let the folks introduce themselves, and we'll start off with Peggy Lynch, and to my left, but however it sets up on your screen. But go ahead, Peggy, give us a little quick who you are and what you do.
Okay, very good. Good morning, everyone. This is Peggy Lynch with 21K Promotions. My tagline is your marketing partner. So I work with all size businesses and organizations and clubs on building their name recognition, where we incorporate promotional products and decorate it with your logo and message. That's what we do.
Okay, and Carrie Farmer, you want to go ahead and tell us who you are?
Sure. I'm Carrie Farmer with Farmers Heating and Cooling Solutions, and we're out of Clay County. We're just a local small family business trying to provide valuable and quality HVAC services at small town pricing.
Very good. And Julie Payton.
Good morning. I'm Julie Payton with First Florida Mortgage. I provide residential home loans anywhere in the state of Florida, and I am the game changer.
She is indeed. Okay. All right. Well, welcome, ladies. How fortunate I am to be surrounded by talented female business owners. Pretty cool. All right. So the format is this. We've done one of these in the can, and I think we got some legs underneath us. I'm going to listen. I think the most important skill set that I bring to the table, me personally, in my relationship with customers, is being able to listen intently to their needs and concerns before I come out with a brain dump and just dump all my information on them about my products and services. I just believe listening is so important. So I'm going to listen today and let these ladies, if you've got some needs and concerns that we can address, and it'll be a free flow conversation, hopefully, and we'll move through it. So who wants to bring a concern or a thought to the table first? Da-da-da.
All right. Well, you know what? I would be happy to jump in.
Okay.
This is something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I've listened to people have discussions on it. So let's see what everybody thinks. Virtual assistants. Okay. I've been a solopreneur for a long time, and business fortunately is picking up, but now that of course creates all this busy work and paperwork and so forth. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, virtual assistant. Anybody have experience with that, or like it or don't like it, or recommendations?
We're so new. I'm sorry, Julie, go ahead.
I can chime in a little bit just from what I've heard from other people that have used them, that it really helps, and it's inexpensive, and for some businesses it's perfect. What you have to be careful of is if you're in my industry, if you're dealing with sensitive information, credit card numbers and stuff like that, you just kind of need to be very careful, because some of these are offshore, people and companies. So just depending on your business, I've heard it is very good. It does free up a lot of your time. Just be careful what you give them to do.
Oh, good point. Thank you.
Carrie, did you have some insight?
That was basically, we haven't used it for so young, starting into the business field, but definitely what Julie was saying. I've heard from other people that just with, some people are still leery of giving out, that credit card information and things like that. But I mean, there's great ways to use that. I've heard, great things about it. Like you said, it's more cost effective than actually hiring. So I'm
Okay.
interested to see.
Okay, good. Well, that's a great question, by the way. And there's a practical application as far as an answer goes. All of us as small business owners, especially, we started this thing from the ground up. And so we're the type of people that like to do things on our own. We take charge people, and whether it's a trust issue, not trusting other people to do it as well as you will, or it's just time. We need to get stuff done and know that it's done and taken care of. So we end up taking on so much more on our backs, and thus, well, that's another broadcast about family issues and time, and making sure that you've got a home office that you can close the door behind you, and you're not on your dining room table and trying to clear off for dinner, breakfast, and lunch. So it's a ramping up equation. So you start off basically all on your own, and you've got to start looking at your time and how much time are you spending doing things that aren't making you money. The key to our success as individual business owners, especially the people that started this thing, is we are best in front of our customer. And that's where the money is made. And what happens when you start out, it's just a necessity. You have to do everything. You have to be in front of the customer. You have to sweep up at night, and you got to process the purchase orders and get the shipments done too. And so the challenge for us as individual business owners is to know when we can separate from those tasks, because some of us are a little bit more egocentric than others, and we lose sight of the big picture and decide, I need to do it all. And that person will reach a certain plateau in their business and never grow, because there's only 24 hours in a day and there's only so much you can do. And or it could become detrimental because the person really is a micromanage on every aspect of what's happening, and they've lost sight of where the profit center is. And so I'll give you a kind of a big picture. In the furniture business, I'll go back to some of my previous experience. There was a family, two brothers in Fort Worth, Texas. I won't give the name away in case somebody might know them. But we repped their furniture, and one brother was very good at making things. He made the furniture and designed it, and it was incredible quality-based product. The other brother was the face man. He was the guy who was the salesman and could go out all over the country and get new reps like myself and my sister and other reps in other states. Well, he could build the sales funnel. Well, the brother that made everything was kind of a control freak. And so he was the guy who oversaw the literature, the pictures and information that the literature. He went into the factory and made sure people were screwing in the screws right and fixing the drill bits and that sort of thing. Well, they reached a certain level, about 70, 80 million in sales, and they could never punch through it. And so they finally hired a consultant that I wasn't part of that process, but we got to watch it. And the consultant says, you got to go in the factory and stay in the factory and leave this other, we got to bring some MBA types in from outside and let them do the things that you got to let go of some of this stuff. Well, they quickly went from about 80 million to double 150 million in sales within about 18 months. And so we as business owners have got to know when to let loose of those strings, because it's not a profitable process. The key now is, in this economy that we're sitting in, wages are going up, and work ethic, that's another broadcast, to find somebody who understands work ethic. And you're never going to find someone that has the passion and the commitment that you do, because it's yours. It's your baby. It's not theirs. So the challenge is going to be to find someone that you can trust with information that you guys have already talked about, but also trust the process and get the things done. So I would say yes to it, but start small. Try to assess how much time you're spending in that process, and maybe find someone to work 10 hours a week or something like that. It could launch your business to another level. Good question, Peggy.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Round two. You all need some more coffee.
I do have something. I sent you something earlier, David.
You did.
But one of the things that I think we are starting to run into, we kind of planned ahead a little bit, but I just wonder if there's any other like tips or thoughts on with supply and demand. It's going in where, you have material prices are going up, material shortages are going up, and, they're not going to be producing anything any quicker anytime in the near future. So for us, we're running into issues with finding units, matching parts, things like that. We are small and we don't have a lot of space to, I guess, stock up on things or the financial backing, because we're trying to do it right and not go into debt, because who knows what could happen. So, I mean, we're planning for the best, but what are some maybe ideas or thoughts? And Peggy, I'm sure, you are dealing with supply and demand issues with your products as well, on how to effectively plan ahead, but not overdo it. I don't know if anybody has any.
Julie, if you've got an answer, I'll let you go first. But if you don't, that's okay too. I thank you for sending that, by the way, Carrie. And let Julie go first if you want to.
I can definitely see that being an issue. I don't have a clue.
Well, and Julie, your business, you're dealing in somewhat the intangible. Obviously you're not procuring the home for the person, you're procuring the financing. But if you're watching what the Fed's talking about doing, that may change things. It won't change the money supply for you. It just changed the availability of people wanting to take a loan.
And we have had issues where, a lot of people want homes and then they can't get them because of being outbid. And there's really, in our industry, there's just nothing you can do. All you tell the people is hang in there. The right one to come along. But, with an air conditioning, it's like they need it now. It's not a, well, I guess it is a luxury, but really it's not.
Okay,
Yeah.
Carrie. I'm sorry, Carrie. Thank you for sending that information, which tells me two things. It's on your heart, and you're concerned about it. You and Brad both. And I'm reading that stuff every day, and that I kind of come to the table with that. My answer, and I'm glad you did. My answer to you is this: the challenge for you as a small business unit, you and your husband, is you don't have the finances to go out and procure 50 units and store, I don't know what those things cost. I know what they cost to the end user, but that could be $25,000 to $50,000 in inventory that you're sticking aside somewhere. Much less the building to put it in, that you can store it in a place that's not going to get damaged by weather or vandalism or rodents or whatever. So that's a problem, and I understand it. It's a challenge. So what do? And you're correct. You do not want to go into debt to procure $50,000 in inventory at X amount of cost, only to carry the debt, however you chose to finance it. And then you just eat up your profits, because now that unit costs more because of the debt you're carrying. So what do we do, Dave? Well, as we talk about all the time in this organization, relationships. And so it's so critical for you to start building those vendor relationships as well, and supply chain relationships with the, I assume I've heard you guys talk about when things get tough, you've got to go, you get the phone book out and start calling people. Do you have a unit? No. Do you have a unit? Well,
Right.
They're having the same problems too. I mean, they're up against the same challenges as well. But keep in mind, put yourself in their shoes for a moment. When I say vendor, dealer, distributor, whatever you want to call it, they're trying to make heads or tails of this scenario too. And they're trying to keep customers from doing exactly that. Well, I don't have it today. Sorry, Sam, I got to call the next guy. It's another conversation we can have, but the tip of the iceberg is you've got to, you've heard me say 3s, 5s, and 7s. I don't know where this 3, 5, and 7 comes from, but you've got to find 3, maybe 5 distributor vendor type relationships, 3 good ones. It's like having best friends. None of us have 100 best friends. We have 1 or 4, maybe at the tops. And so you've got to develop best friend relationships with your dealer, distribution, vendor types, and let them know, I've got empathy. Look, I feel it. I can't get the stuff when I need it. I know you're up against the same wall, but you know what? Let's hold hands. Let's lock arms. Let's get lockstep and go through this battle together. And I'm going to make a commitment. You're my first call. I'm coming to you first.
Oh my God.
And so those are the conversations you need to have. This is not lip service. This is genuine, that I'm in this battle to win it, and I'm going to bring you with me.
That's good.
And that kind of stuff, that may be the guy that says, hey, I'm keeping this one back because the carrier might call me next week and need this one. And then now you're getting the inventory that they carry and their storage. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's important. That's why I kept saying it's important if during this next several, I don't know how long this is going to take, we have got to join like-minded people and start building these relationships, because it's so much bigger than just making a sale and a transaction. It could be that relationship you're talking about.
Well, I definitely remember, early on when we were talking about, starting our business and opening up a business account, this was months ago, and you were saying, walk into the bank. Don't do everything online, get your face out there. And we did. And we go in quite often actually and sit down and say, hey, we want to check on things. We have the right accounts for what we're doing now that we've been in business a couple months, and they recognize us now, and so later on, if we ever do need to go get a loan for something, God forbid, not God forbid, but if there's an issue, we know that we've already started that relationship. So, we took that. So I definitely taken this advice. We do have a couple distributors that we deal with weekly, but going in and actually, I know Brad talks to him a lot because he likes to talk, but I really like being committed to them and saying, hey, you are going to be like our first call, and so I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
So I know, like, actually getting the product, Carrie, through your vendors is an issue, but and I don't even know if this is on the same line of kind of what you're talking about. At the same time, you don't want to lose the business because you don't have the product. I can tell you just a small example, like I needed a new washer machine. Everybody was out of them. They were back order, but I needed one. So I went online, I ordered it, and I paid for it. And I had to just wait for it to come in. So they still had my business because I did put money into it.
Right.
So it was, you're not stocking up on the product, but you're still capturing the business by taking, hey, we might not have it now, but it's on back order. We'll take a deposit. And that way, at least when it does come in, you still have that business. They haven't gone somewhere else.
Yeah, that's good. Way our CRM works right now is, we go out and give an estimate, and then Brad tells them, hey, units are in shortage. He's up front with them. And he's like, we know that you need something. Some people need it immediate, with the weather, the way it is, they need heat now. So we try to bend over backwards and get that stuff done. But we do definitely, call around. Sometimes we have to give them a different brand. Like maybe they only want to go with Train or Goodman or whatever. And we come up with a couple different scenarios and price ranges for them and say, hey, this is all we can find. Do you want this now or do you want to wait? And then they have to accept the quote or not. So it's on paper and they sign for it. But, down the road, we may have to start doing the deposit. And that way, because we put our money up front to get the units, and then we just reimburse ourselves when we install it and they pay us back, so that we don't incur a huge debt to any distributor or anything. So, but I like that idea. It's also, it may get that way because we've already had to change. We were doing estimates 30 days out when we first started, and now it's 10 days. Like you have 10 days to accept it because prices are changing every week, depending on what brand it is and things like that. So, just like you said, coming up with those great ideas, going and talking in person again, revisit them, starting to maybe take a deposit. I know some people that might turn them away, but if we have that relationship with them, I think they would understand if we explain why we're taking a deposit now too. So I don't know. Thank you. That's a good idea as well.
Just to close this chapter, transparency, which you just talked about, is critical. We have a counterpart in our group, Blaine Mose, with Don't Slip, don'tslip.com. You can check it out. But Blaine Mose, and he shared with me that now he's doing something I told you that you probably can't right away, but when he finds product, he has a floor covering that he does, and there's a multi-process product mix that he has to facilitate. And so when he finds this product that he can get from a supply chain standpoint, he goes and procures it, and he's got us I think it's his garage or some other storage
It
unit,
is.
but he gets it and stores it. Now that's the equation that we've addressed that you probably financially and space wise can't do. But the other thing from a transparency standpoint, he's been very successful with his work process with the cold that we're experiencing right now. There's a window of temperature that he can work in, and then a window that he can't. And so right now, while we're in Northeast Florida, we're experiencing this brutal winter right now. He is taking calls from people and just being fully transparent. Look, it's a chemical process. It is what it is. I'm not trying to run around you, but I can't do the work. But let's go ahead and get you in the pipeline and get you started. And I'm amazed, during my summer gig that I did this past summer, how many customers are willing to, they understand what's going on. I mean, it's been in the news long enough. Everyone's pretty much, unless you live under a rock, is pretty much up to speed that there's some issues. And so the customers, I can remember a day when a customer would call you and say, can you get out and do this? You say, I can't. They'd be belligerent, well, you're a jerk. What do you mean you can't do it? I've got money. You better be here tomorrow. They're not doing that right now because they understand, there's problems. And so transparency, there's no need to hide behind it. Just say it. Hey, look, you've seen the news. We can't get this stuff, but we want your business. So, all those conversations need to be happening at the same time. Anyway, that's good.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff. Okay. This is where we were last time, Peggy. It got quiet after 30 minutes, which is fun.
Is that volume working?
Yeah. Oh, is this on? Yeah, that'll be a good
Start
stand-up.
knocking. Anybody in there?
Okay. Anything else?
I'll tell you what, I just, I have to agree with you, David, that I believe consumers and business owners and managers are now becoming a little bit more accepting of the fact that they may or may not have, or they may have to wait for a very long time for their products. They're getting a little bit kinder about that, at least in my world.
Well, yeah, because they want the business too, right? They're like, oh, please hold on. I do want to say something. We're in this vein talking about what we're doing, and the guys that you guys have been around me long enough have heard me say this before, but the internet, this internet that, who was it? Vice President Gore invented apparently, but anyway, this internet has been really good for us under the guise of convenience. All of us can reflect on a situation. I was never an internet shopper for my Christmas presents until 2 years ago. Everyone jumped on the wagon way early before I did. I just felt like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to spend money with my local customers, my local, shop owners. And I'd still do that. We have a mix of things, but I gotta say, Peggy, I looked for lanyards, and I don't know if this was the internet, but it was shipped. I asked her one day for lanyards if she had any, and the next day it's on my front porch, samples, and I'm like, wow. And I drove to Target and I drove to Walgreens. I did some internet searching to see if they had it in their stores, and 4 stops and no product. I'm like, well, this is crazy. I can't do this. And so I called a source that has them, and the next day it was on my front porch. I tripped over it. So that convenience is awesome. And then tie that to the pricing model, meaning that I could, Amazon's got it cheaper than the local store. I think you can go to Walmart, is of all places. And I remember looking for some cabling, some Cat 5 cabling I had to get for the house. And in the store, standing right in front of me on the shelf, was 50 foot at, I don't know what it was, say $15. I'm sure that's not the price, but whatever it was. But on my phone, I'm holding my phone in my hand. If I ordered it online, it was $12.95. So I could literally take it off the shelf and pay one price, or I could order it online from a warehouse, God knows where in Arkansas or something, and it would be at my door the next day for $12.95. So what I'm seeing is some things stores are now carrying that have a profit margin, and then some things they're not. They're a centralized location somewhere, and they're being distributed through the internet. Now, here's the point of the story. I've been meandering around. I've said all along that I think at some point we're going to get to where the consumer says, you know, look, I get it. It's convenient. I don't have to, I just push the button and it shows up tomorrow. The price is right. And it's better pricing than it was the other way around. But at some point, we're going to get to a level of service and relationship and interaction where I'm going to say, look, I'll pay 25% more if I can just get someone to help me. You know, if I could go to a department store where you're looking for clothing, and it used to be every once in a while in the men's big and tall, you'd have to, a woman would walk through that was coming from the ladies department. You could grab her and say, hey, listen, I need some help. You have to go all the way down to tools and lawnmowers to find somebody, you know, I mean, there's just nobody in the store. And so I think we're getting close to, the internet has its purpose and the online shopping is beneficial, but because of the supply thing, maybe it's forcing us to start talking to people again and start building those connections. So, because, you know, I likened it to, in the old days, I got a guy, you know, someone would ask me something, oh, I got a guy who can do that. Well, that's kind of where we're headed. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. We need to embrace that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And maybe us old farts will understand that sooner, because we knew that before. And these young kids are like, I can't get it. I'm lost. You know, so who knows?
That's one of the benefits of getting to this age, you know.
Right. We can still hitch up the plow to the horse and know how to do it. The rest of them don't know how to do it.
There you go.
All right. That was almost over the top, but anyway. All right. Any other thoughts? No, we're good. It's okay if we're good. You know.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't want to bring up try to think up another idea to, spend time on just for that purpose. So
yeah,
no, I'm good.
Okay, Julie, you're good?
I'm good. Good information.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said before, this is an opportunity on Saturday morning to bring some needs and concerns to the table. And if it's a brief discussion, I'm okay with that. Saturday morning is mine too. So let's call it a wrap, if that's okay with you guys. And I'm going to post this one to the YouTube David Theus coaching channel, and we'll start sharing it. And another successful Saturday morning. Thank you guys so much for being a part of that and the opportunity for me to serve you in this capacity. So awesome stuff.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Have a blessed week. See you later.
You too. Bye. See y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.